Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about my terrible online dating experience. I have quite a few stories, so most likely this will be broken up into like a little 5-part series, but then also I'm going to be discussing different do's and don'ts of the online dating world and things that you really need to know before you just go out and dating people willy-nilly. Also, I know that there's a glare in my glasses, but I need them to see, so we're all just gonna have to deal with it. You know, natural lighting is the best lighting, so it is what it is. So now let's get started with this dating catastrophe, as I would call it. So I went on a date with this one guy who shall remain nameless because most likely his crazy ass would probably come and find me. So to avoid that, we'll just call him X if I refer to his name, even though it's irrelevant. So me and him, we went on a date. We went to dinner to Red Lobster, basic AF. And then after dinner, he wanted to go get drinks. Now, previously, before the date, I told him that I was only looking for a friend, just someone to hang out with from time to time. Nothing too serious. So he was okay with that. He understood that, and you know, he agreed. So I said, okay, that's fine. So after dinner, he said that, you know, let's go get drinks, like I said before. And I was like, okay, you know, I guess. So we go over to College Park and we have drinks. And he's on his second drink at the time and I was on my first one. And he was saying, you know, why am I babysitting my drink? And I was like, I'm not babysitting my drink. Like, I'm just taking my time, you know, checking out the scenery. I'm not really down here too often, so I'm not going to get, you know, terribly drunk. So when I was on my third drink, then he was like, whoa, I didn't know it was a race. I was just like, look, either you're going to let me drink or just shut up. Like, why are you even talking about how I'm drinking? Like, really? So after he gets to his about, like, fourth drink, halfway done with that, he starts rubbing on my leg, trying to whisper in my ear, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And he's like, you know, I don't really understand why you don't want to have sex with me. And I said, because that's just not what I'm looking for. Like, what do you mean? And he says, you know, well, I just don't really understand why you don't want to have sex with me. We're clearly both physically attracted to each other, and why wait? And I told him that's just not what I'm looking for at the time. Like, there's nothing against you. It's just me personally. I just don't want to have sex with you. Like, sometimes that's a thing. And he just didn't want to hear that. So I was just kind of over and just like, okay, whatever. And then he was like, you know, I'm not the type of guy who's just going to sit around and wait for someone. And I was like, that's fine. I said, I'm not going to have sex with you ever, so I don't really need you to wait for me, like, at all. So then he said, okay, you know, I respect it, sure. And after he said that, then we left. He dropped me off at home, and that was the end of the date. So I was like, you know, whatever, just gonna cut him off, nothing major, you know, whatever, deleted his number. And the next day he had texted me, which was to my surprise because I was assuming that we were, you know, done. And he had texted me and he was like, you know, you're such a waste of time. I can't believe I gave you a great night and you didn't even want to sleep with me. Like, I don't understand girls like you. You're a waste of time and money, blah, 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 whatever. So I was just like, okay, bye. Like, I don't really want to talk to you. Like, that's fine. And then he proceeded to say that he didn't understand why I wasn't like the other black girls that he had dated, because I guess if he wanted to dine them, he was going to get in them draws. And I was like, well, that's not every black girl or every girl in general. Like, some girls are, you know, easier to get than others, and some girls want to have sex and some don't. There's nothing wrong with either of them. But for you to generalize and think that every black girl is going to give you some just because you want to dine them is ridiculous. Some girls are way more harder to get than I am, or easier to get than I am, and that's their own prerogative. Like, whatever. So then I was like, okay, this really isn't going to go anywhere. I'm just going to, like, stop the conversation and be like, I'm good, leave me alone. So it was like 3 days later, and then he had messaged me, and then he was saying that, oh, you know, I'm having a party at a hotel and I should come through. And I was like, no thanks. And he was like, you should come. It's me and one other girl, and I have pizza and soda and Gushers. And I was like, what kind of pedophile party is that? Like, don't get me wrong. I did tell him that my favorite candy was Gushers, but the fact that you think that you were going to bribe me with some Gushers pizza and some dirty broad who's from the slums of College Park, that's so disrespectful. Like, that's not going to happen at all. And then I was like, no, thank you. And then he sent me another text message, and he's like, well, you know, I'm sorry. I think it's just like the Nigerian in me to automatically assume that every girl is going to give me what I want because that's what I'm used to. And I just found it interesting that he was playing the whole Nigerian card, because he's half black, half Nigerian. And when I asked him earlier which side was he, you know, closer to, it was more of the black side. That's what he was raised around. But now you're claiming the Nigerian part because you're so rude and obsessive and clingy, thinking that you're going to get your way, like on some King Matumbo type of stuff. And that's not the case, you know. So I was just over, and I was like, you know, leave me alone, I'm good. So a month after that, then he had sent me a message on POF, the dating site that I met him on, and he was saying, you know, hey, what's up, we should hang out and whatnot. I was like, nah, I'm good. He was like, you should call me. And I was like, I don't have your number. He sent his number, and then I said, you know, I actually don't even want it, so you could just, you know, exit. You know, I don't really need you around. Like, I'm good. So that was the last I heard of him. I'm glad. I'm so happy he left me alone, because I just don't understand it. And then what I also don't understand is, why are there guys who say they're cool with having a strictly platonic or friendship relationship, no sex, no fellatio, no nothing, and they lie? Like, if you want someone who you're gonna smash and pass, just say that there are so many women who are actually down for just having sex and moving on. But some women, like myself, just want to have a male friend and just chill and hang out with. Like, that is a thing still, you know. Like, not every woman is just, you know, wanting a serious committed relationship. Like, if you're actually honest with what you're looking for, then you'll be able to get that. Like, why lie? I don't understand. Like, why lie? And then sometimes you have men who are kind of sort of like the woman who want a relationship, and the woman just wants to smash and pass. Like, it is what it is. But if you're both being honest, mature adults, then you're able to say, hey, I want X, Y, and Z. I want this, this, and this. And if it doesn't match, move on. It's not a big deal. Like, mind your business, drink some tea, and, like, live your life. Like, it's not that serious. There's no need to lie and waste people's time. So, this concludes that first date terrible online story. And the next one, I think I have about 4 dates or 5 dates to talk about. And the next will be, you know, the other parts and bits and bobs about the online dating community and what you should and shouldn't do. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, like it, comment, so we can have like a nice discussion about what's been happening in the online dating community, and you can share your stories and, you know, whatnot. And definitely subscribe, so then you can catch up on all my next videos that I do plan on filming. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. My mama cooked and it was therapeutic. People do it for the tax and but not me, because I just do it. Came up on the cassette tapes with the CDs.